feel about breaking up the banks?
Well, I think there's still a sense that they're too big, they're too risky, they pose a risk to the rest of us if they get into trouble again. I think Dodd-Frank has good tools to deal with the too big to fail issue, but the regulators need to use those tools very aggressively. And most importantly, convince the market that it's over, especially bondholders, that if these big banks get in trouble again, bondholders are going to be taking losses. I think that's really key. And I don't think the market's been convinced of that yet.
What are the risks that still exist? I mean, you mentioned Dodd-Frank. We've had Basel III requirements. We have stress tests now. Right. So what is the risk that is still inherent in the system, and why aren't there adequate tools to handle whatever that risk is?
Well, a lot of the things you mentioned really haven't been implemented yet. For instance, the Basel III rules, those are still a work in process. We hope that they will be finalized soon. The part of the proposed capital rules that deal with the large internationally active banks get the quality of capital standards raised, get the risk-based ratios raised, and most importantly, have a strong, effective leverage ratio, which isn't subject to the same kind of gaming that risk-weighted measures lend themselves to under the current rules. So those really haven't happened yet. There's a lot of off-balance sheet risk that's not reflected in capital ratios, which needs to be dealt with and understood. I still think large banks are over-leveraged. We need to get those capital levels up, but that hasn't happened yet, and it needs to.
What sort of leverage do you think is more proper, if you will?
Well, we've advocated, I chair the Systemic Risk Council, which is a group of former regulators and members of Congress and academics who have a lot of credibility looking at issues like these, and we have endorsed a minimum of 8%. That is using the Basel III leverage ratio standards, and the denominator in that ratio includes a lot of off-balance sheet risks that are not included currently in the leverage ratio we have here in the U.S. So we think 8% would be the minimum. Tom Honig has gone to 10%. Great. I think that would be wonderful if the regulators would have the courage to do that.